Welcome guys, let's see what we got for this week. I already draw the possibility of the divergence from last week, and the market played out very well because, as I said in the last Zoom, by the interest rates the price will go to the downside because the USA didn't made an interest rate didn't increase the interest rate, so it was a negative impact on the dollar, and that's what we saw. And after that, a very good impulse in the market, but there is a divergence possibility, but we have only just this a divergence possibility. As you see, the momentum stays red. Actually, we are below the zero line. Everything is under the zero line, but we have a possibility for the divergence, and that's it actually. But don't forget that there is a huge weekly divergence forming in the bull side of the XY. So there is no divergence on the weekly basis on the USD CAD, but I'm gonna show you on the DXY. So this is the start of something. Just wait for the forming candles, first of all. After that, it could be a nice ride to the upside. Okay, but wait first for the confirmations before that, because right now we only have just a chance of divergence, which is not formed yet. Okay, on weekly basis, we are above the zero line here. We are above the zero line. There is a structural divergence, yes, but that's it. The momentum is still red. All right, Audi NZD here, the momentum also red, but as you see on daily basis, there is a possibility for a divergence on the daily basis, which is, I think it's more beautiful, as you see, because we are below the zero line. The slow moving average is under the zero line, and there is a chance for the divergence possibility. So this could turn to the downside for one more time. Okay, that's the iOS in this case. Euro CHF, the Euro CHF made an interesting move, and here is a possible divergence forming. And here is also a beautiful picture because, as you see, we are below the zero line, so the chance of this divergence is higher, and not like on the USD CAD. Those are stronger signals. So I'm expecting this divergence to continue to the downside one more time, and this could make a possible contra divergence from the bottom when the low breaks. Okay, because you see a very big candle to the downside, but you don't see anything on the destroyer yet, and that's also a great sign. It should continue to the downside, comes around this level when the stops are hunted, and this could be the place when the price goes up. Euro GBP, the Euro GBP also forming something, but as you see, there is a rejection on the REMA getting closer, but the slow moving average came under the zero line, and on the VVV we are under the zero line. So I think this will be a convergence and turn to the downside, which should make also a divergence from the bottom, which would look like kind of like this. So it looks like the euro gonna have some weakness, which is very interesting because most of the times when the euro have weakness, the DXY gets stronger, and those are great signs from a stronger DXY. And also for the divergence perspective, I draw it here, and this was also a beautiful trade of mine, this possibility, which is not formed yet, a very interesting case as well. But don't forget the bigger picture on the VVV and on the weekly charts, you see we are above the zero line. The momentum remain red, yes, but there is a higher chance of the weekly bull divergence. Here is the low, and this will most likely form. But let's wait for it to complete, and after that, we can see a nice ride to the upside. But let's wait for confirmations to form. It's a great candle right there, but it's not enough. We have the divergence possibilities, and this looks, for me, very promising. As you see, the slow moving average is almost on the same spot. And if it starts consolidating, which I expect from the market mostly because we are getting to the end of the year, so the market should a bit showing a slowdown, kind of like. And I think that's also an interesting point. So when we see that slow down in the market, there is a higher chance to form in a buy side, and that's what we are looking for. So on weekly, there is the bullish divergence possibility, and we are above the zero line, which is very good. And on the daily basis, also the divergence possibility, and I think it's about to form, but it needs a bit of time. All right, that's the main case in the DXY, and this is looking very good, actually. The CXY also forming a divergence, but a similar thing what we saw on the USD CAD is actually the possibility for the divergence, but that's it. As you see, the momentum is green at the moment. We are above the zero line. We broke the slowing moving average. It turned blue as well. So all we have is just possibility of a divergence and a beautiful evening star, actually, but that's it. The evening star is mostly an bear candle when it happens like this. So I'm curious for the Monday, actually, the opening of Monday. And this could be also very interesting. On a weekly basis, we see just green. That's it. We are under the zero line, yes, but there is no divergence possibility. Even if the price turns, it should be just a convergence. All right. The AXY bounced one more time from the trend line. I think that's also good thing. As you see, the Brema moving aggressively, but we don't see anything from the Destroyer. It bounced back on the zero line, and that's not a very beautiful picture. But as you see here, we got the sell signal right there, which is not formed yet on the on other indexes, and that's why I said the euro should be weak. Because as you see on the Euro CHF and Euro GBP, the CHF and the GBP is more in power, let's say that. They show dominance in the market. So, but from momentum perspective, we are close to the zero line, and that's also why I'm saying the market should a bit slowing down next week. But as you know, if I don't know if you know, but on Tuesday there will be also an interest rate from the GPY, which is also an interesting thing, in my opinion. And we're gonna take a look on the economic calendar soon. I'm gonna see the major news or the key news. Okay. Honestly, I would expect a weaker AXY for next week. Then we are heading to the EXY, and the EXY is moving up slowly. We see a small structural divergence on the VVV. The volume goes up. On the Destroyer, the volume goes up. On weekly basis, there is a huge divergence possibility, but there is a very high volume, which I don't really like because imagine, just imagine if the last week they're gonna say, okay, it's time to increase the interest rates. It will be a crazy move. But the thing is, in the last, I don't know, 6 years, let's look at it in the last, I think 6 years. As you see, no, it's more. Last 7 years, they didn't change the interest rate. So I think it will be possible if they say, okay, it's time now. I think that could be a possibility. And that will also mean that this goes higher than the previous level and there is no divergence anymore. Because how it seems for me, the volume is very high. So that's not something I would bet against actually when I'm looking to trade. That's actually a sign to not trade against that because there is also a huge distance between the two and there is a structural divergence. So some of the aspects pointing to a stronger Japanese yen. And as you see here, this huge monthly divergence, which is not formed yet because there is 12 days remain still from this month. But just imagine if they actually do increase the interest rates, the price can go up even to this point. So that could be something very crazy. And as you see, there is also huge divergence. It's something similar what we could see on the crypto sites a couple of months ago, and you see where the prices are now. This is something similar, a monthly divergence. That's a strong one. That's a strong divergence. And as you see here, divergence as well, and you see divergence here as well. So if I'm looking to these charts, I would probably say that the Japanese yen should get stronger. And that will mean that they're gonna increase the interest rates, which should be very crazy actually, because 7 years passed without changing the interest rates. So I'm very curious what's the next. Um, if they don't gonna change interest rates, that should mean um, possibly that the price is falling to the downside. But last week we got CHF, we got the euro, and we got the pound. And they didn't increase the interest rates, but still the prices didn't show any weaknesses because the DXY was weak. And mostly because of that, we didn't saw anything from them. But as you compare the charts, you not seeing patterns like this on other indexes. So I would say that the price is about to go on a higher spot actually. And here is a possibility of the divergence until this high actually. But I would expect the Japanese yen to make an even a higher move actually. As I see how the daily and the weekly charts looks like it's just a strong move and we cannot deny it. All right. I think this is also a very interesting thing. The BXY, as you see on the BXY, there is a possibility for divergence to the downside. We are close to the zero line. This is also close to the zero line. Not something similar what we saw, for example, on the CXY. On daily basis, it happened exactly what I was looking for, and this was almost the most clear picture last week, because there was this divergence already there, and here was our low, so I knew that this is just not gonna hit. That low was just too far away, but right now there is a possibility for divergence. There is a divergence in the structure and forming with the low. You see, there is a very, very tiny volume inside the VVV. So yeah, that's why I'm looking for, and it comes together with the DXY as well, right? SXY, similar thing, but as you see, the volume is on a lower point still. So this is also an interesting thing, because we see different pictures, which is not that usual. Here was also a possibility for a divergence, but now with that spike to the upside, there is a divergence to the downside, and also in the structure, as you see, I already drew it in the last session of yesterday. So I'm looking for actually a reversal in the market to the downside, obviously. Similar thing here on the AXY, there is a possibility for the divergence in the structure. You see some very low volume. The one thing it springs directly is the AXY and the charts of the AXY. Just completely different. It's just completely different. Okay, on weekly basis there was divergence, but there is no divergence. The volume is high, yes, and I don't like this is also a bit far away from the slow moving average. But as you see, we are under the zero line, and that's also a bit far away from the zero line. So honestly, I would not trade on the AXY, because all we have is a possibility of the divergence. The rest of the pictures are much clearer, let's say that, than the charts of the AXY. So, for example, the BXY chart or even the AXY makes more sense than the AXY. The CXY also kind of like similar divergence possibility, a low volume level. There was only a convergence right there on weekly basis, high volume, also high distance from the two, and there was a divergence, but actually that's it. Nothing spectacular actually, so I'm looking for that. Yep, and then we get the gold, which is also a very interesting thing. As you see, here was a little break in gold, and here comes a little break again. But I think that's something something very interesting, because there is a structural divergence forming on the VVV on the weekly basis, and on the monthly basis there is also possibility for the divergence, and we are dancing around the slow moving average, and there is also a structural divergence because the price came higher, but here, as you see, here was high, but the slow moving average came on a lower point, which is also almost the same thing on the VVV plus. So we are getting closer and closer to the zero line, and I'm saying on almost every Zoom that there is a huge divergence possibility for the gold on yearly basis, and that's something very big as well, because as you know, If you looking to yearly charts, it will mean that the divergence, what is there forming, it's just much stronger. All right. And don't forget the fact that the last time when we had a similar divergence was in the 40s. So yeah, that was long ago. All right. On daily basis, we see a candle to the downside, but it's nothing, a low volume level dancing around the zero line, a Rama crossing. So not a clear picture. Actually, let's move to the lower time frames, 12 hours, almost the same as the daily. 6 hours here, we see a start actually on the sell and dancing around the zero line and here as well. So yeah, this is very interesting because we're heading to the end of the year and yeah, something to look for it on on 50 minutes, not on weekly, on 50 minutes, there is a possibility for divergence to the downside and the slow moving average came under the zero line and here we are under the zero line. So this pointing also more likely to the downside actually. But here is also a divergence. So as you see, it's a bit mixed, but my point of view is mostly the yearly because we are heading to the end of the year and the monthly possibility for the divergence as well. I'm still saying that the price of gold should fall down to a point where it was very long time ago. Okay. Then a quick look to the cryptos. We are heading to the target zone. And what I saw is actually on daily, there is a possibility for a divergence right there. And everything is above the zero line, which is good. We are not so far from the slow moving average. But if it goes with impulse to the upside, it will mean that there is actually a divergence between the two. All in the only case if the price is pumping on a higher spot and this level breaks as well, then we will not see a divergence, just a convergence in the market. But this could be a possible next move, actually. All right. Then the ECP, the lovely ECP made, it was my analysis. Wait here. The huge divergence also in the structure on a weekly basis, there was a huge divergence. Even on the monthly, there was a divergence. So that's what I'm talking about. And that's something similar what we see on the AXY. Okay, not quite the same thing, but something similar as you can compare. And it just went up after the divergence. On weekly basis, there was a huge structural divergence. Also on the REMA, a huge divergence between the two. And when we went through the daily charts, we saw there also a huge divergence. And this was the first post. And from that moment, the price just went almost 300% up. 3 point. Okay. So the pike was 290%. So that was also a huge move. What I'm looking for is the XRP as well. Here is a chance of divergence, but you know, the XRP didn't move that much. But as you saw this move, the XRP is capable of just moving out of nowhere and just go even 200%. I think that could be something easy for XRP. I still see their potential in the long-term run. As you see on a monthly basis, we are just crossing the zero line, crossing the REMA. Um, I think it's just a matter of time. I think it's just a matter of time. And January should be, in my eyes, a very good month for the cryptos, especially for the alts. Here is the price slowly moving, nothing really happens. But as you see, we broke a structure right there and kind of like made the retest as well. So I would expect also something bullish here as well. Um, don't forget about the Dodge. The Dodge made an almost a break. And last time when we saw something like this, went 3 months to the downside, but not very big canvas. And after that, it just went for it. All right, we are about to cross on the REMA. We are already crossing on the VV. This is a great sign. And yes, I know some of you are not fans of meme coins, me either. But if I see possibility on the charts, then comes the question, why not? We see what is about to happen, so why shouldn't we take advantage of the coming things? All right. Another thing, the VeChains, VTOR, and VeChain. I think that's also something interesting. On daily basis, there was a divergence, but right now there is a continuation divergence to the upside forming. It's not formed yet, but the next move could be also a huge one, actually, and depends how far it goes, actually, to cross that line, because as you see on weekly basis, it's just moving to the upside. On monthly basis, it's just started. So yeah, we don't even have info from the REMA right there on the VTO. On VeChain, we should have info because it's oh no, we don't have info. But as you see, the momentum is just started, actually. So there is still a lot of possibilities in the market. All right, that's it for today. Let's see what we have for the key news, like EFO from the euro could bring some liquidity, but that's it. Then Tuesday, interest rate from GPY. Already said why I'm looking for it. This could be a big thing, and I think the interest rate should be increased anytime soon. Okay, it just can't go on with the economic status of Japan in this way. Okay, we saw interest rates increasing from the whole world. Just impossible that the GPY is not following. But it was impossible in the last 6 years as well, and yet they did it. But I think that just can go on, and what I'm seeing on the charts is pointing to something like an interest rate increase. All right, after that, the CPY, not very big thing from Austria. CPY from the Eurozone could bring some liquidity, but those are not as big as the USD. But the Canadian CPY, that could be interesting. Okay, I'm looking toward Tuesday. That brings some liquidity in the market. Wednesday, inflation rate from the GBP. That's something interesting, but after that, nothing more special. Existing home sales, not a big deal. But as you know, 1430 or could bring some liquidity most of the times, and 16-hour as well. Thursday, GDP and jobless claims from the USD, which is interesting news. Actually, the Friday retail sales, not a big thing. Inflation rate, I wouldn't say I would wake up for that. or just to stay awake. But the PCE is something strong, and after that we're gonna have a Michigan, which is also good news to trade mostly. So yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks for your attention. We see each other next year because this was the last Zoom of this year. All right, I wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and a very successful New Year for the coming year. And let's get it. Bye bye.